guys, welcome to Nofap Day 106. I know I started this back on, I think it was March 1st. I wish I could say I was still on the same streak as the previous video of Nofap Day 40. Fortunately, that's not the case. I think there's probably been maybe 7 or 8 relapses since then. The streaks were probably like 8, 12, 4, 10, 2, pretty much what you expect, just all over the place. And I wasn't able to get back on track till about September 3rd, which would have been day 0, and then September 4th was day 1. And so this streak is pretty much from September 4th to today. So I think we'll just kind of go over, stuff that happened on those days, on that streak, and then we'll just kind of go over the general themes, just stuff that I noticed overall. So, day 1. Well, I think day 1 I was just coming off another Nofap Flu. It was just like the one before on Nofap Day 40. I was sick for like 20 to 25 days. Now, it wasn't like a bad sickness, but it was just a generally light sickness, enough to make you kind of feel low, coughing, sore throat, things like that. But it was kind of at the end of that, so I was kind of over that on day 1. Now, day 2, this one I actually had got 30 minutes on the treadmill. That's 6.2 miles. The Sunday before that, I could only get to 20 minutes. And I don't know if that was because the flu was worse that day. But, at least I'm happy to know that on the week afterwards, I was able to get back up to 30 minutes at 6.2 miles on the treadmill. And then day 3, I was a little more motivated. I went ahead and transcribed the 3 stories for my Halloween video. And the stories aren't that long, except maybe like story 1, but honestly, when you're transcribing stories, it takes a pretty long time. So I guess I just had extra motivation to just kind of get that out of the way, just so I could focus on like editing and filming it and things like that. Now on day 5, I was at the Casey's, and the lady had asked about my job. At the time, I was still working security for a bank, and so I told her, yeah, I'm still working there, but honestly, I think in about 2 weeks, I'm going to move on to a different job. It's going to be for credit cards. And so she was like, oh, are you still going to come in for breakfast here? And I was like, well, maybe. It depends if I learn how to cook for myself, and not really. I'm kind of a lazy guy. It'd be a little bit later because I was working 6 to 2, and at that bank. So that was pretty early. And then this new job, I only need to get up at about maybe 7 a.m. Because it starts at 8. Well, it shouldn't for me. I work 12:30 to 9, but for some reason, every 4th Saturday, we're forced to work the first shift, and that is at 8:30 a.m. So, honestly, I can sleep a little bit longer, I guess. And then on that same day, when I went to security, the assistant properties manager was, the one that was wrong. That was 100% wrong and never owned up to her mistake. She decided to be like more bitchy to me that day, which is kind of interesting because she actually chilled out previously, and I think that's because nobody can work the 6 a.m. Like I can. So when I couldn't come into work, it was kind of a big deal. Everybody there was struggle busing without me, so I think that's why she like chilled out and relaxed. But then I guess here she kind of like became mean again because, well, I'm leaving anyways, right? I'm going to get a new job that pays like 1.5 times higher than what I'm currently getting. And so I guess she just didn't really see the point in not trying to be a nasty woman.
Just quit bitching at me.
Now, days 16 to 18, I hit a little bit of a flatline. I know I wasn't so sure about that in my previous NoFap video, but now, oh yeah, I get hit with a lot of flatline this streak, at least 3 to 5 times. It's pretty much what you expect. It's just depression, anxiety, annoyance, anger, just feeling kind of like just generally low. And so, of course, at that time, I was still training for the new job. We're going through PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that, and I just found it very difficult to focus on the subject matter, the material, things like that. I just really couldn't focus. And then on day 19, I actually had, I think for the first time ever, I guess you would call it like a sex dream. And it was something to where if I focused on it too much or if I stayed in it too long, it probably would have become a wet dream. So I really had to just kind of, block myself out and just kind of, psych myself out of there. Now, day 20, I had a morning urge, and it was like maybe 5 a.m. But of course, I'm trying to sleep a little longer, right? Because I don't have to get up at 6. I have to get up at 8. And so I was trying to go back to sleep, but it wasn't working. So I was like, okay. A while ago, I bought like an ice pack, right? I bought like an ice pack because people say that helps. Like when you take a cold shower, it makes like the erection go away. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy an ice pack for something like this. So I'm getting up, I put the ice pack on my balls, and I'm like, nothing's changing. Nothing's changing, oh no. So I was like, damn it, what am I supposed to do? So I was like, okay, well, I decided to do my sand bucket training just to get it out of the way. And I did 30 sets of that, and honestly, the erection went away after that. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. And then day 21, I met Bo. She's like the girlfriend of Kyle. And she's super extroverted. Way extroverted, I'd have to say. More so than my manager. I thought my manager was like super extroverted, but like she is super extroverted, super friendly, which is a good thing. But you balance, right? You want a little bit, a little bit kind of reserved and a little bit extroverted. That's fine too, but just for safety, you kind of want to be midline, half and half. Now, day 22 to 24, it was just constant morning urges. And unlike the first time, it was like 3 or 4 a.m. Okay, that's kind of a problem because after I did the sand bucket training on the last urge, I was awake. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't go back to sleep. But this was at like 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. Well, I can't do the sand bucket training because I'm going to be awake, and that's way too early. So that was pretty bad. I was like, I can't use it. My brain apparently changed its strategy super fast. And so I just kind of had to lay there and try to fight the urge. It's not fun. I'm pretty sure I didn't sleep the whole time. That was pretty bad, pretty rough. Unfortunately, my brain has adjusted its war strategy. And then day 27, I actually gathered the courage to speak to a lady at work. She kind of caught my eye a little bit, and I was like, oh, I want to talk to this girl, So I did that, and things were fine. And like, what are you gonna do after work? That's what you say, right? That's like the kill shot. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna go home and take care of my 3 kids. Ah, I see. That's very good. Now on day 28, the next day, I spoke to her again. I think that was like a Friday, because we were kind of friends at that point, and like, oh, what are you gonna do? And be like, oh man, I'm not doing anything. I guess just work on YouTube. And I was like, what are you gonna do? And then she said like, oh, she's going to like, I think she said the pumpkin patch, and she was going there with her husband, and it's like, oh, yep, that's cool. That's real. It's real great. And then day 29 and 30. So for some reason, I had way too much energy. That Saturday, it was just, I had a lot of energy and I had nothing to do, which is even worse. So then I decided to just clean my whole house. I cleaned the whole living room, cleaned the whole bedroom, and then I was still bored, so I shaved my whole body. Because I had nothing to do. I was already ahead on the YouTube, and yeah, there was nothing to do, so I guess that's what I did. And then on day 30, I went to the gym in the morning, which is what I always do, and it was my full body training, so it was, the hard day essentially. And, I went to Slim Chickens to eat, Then I got my groceries and I went home. Then I tried to relax and I found out I really couldn't. I'm still kind of restless, so I went to the gym again. I went to the gym again. And that one I just did, because since I already did full body, I didn't want to do it again. That would take too long. And so I just did mostly shoulders, lats, and then forearms. And that's kind of the start where I would start to do um, the gym 3 times a week. Because before then, it was just once a week on Sunday. And then now it's like, well, I guess I have too much energy, so I decided to split some more. So now Sunday is kind of my hard gym day. Then Tuesday and Thursday is kind of a light gym day. So really just like shoulders, lats, and forearms. And then Sunday is full body training. And then on day 31, I wanted to sell some silver. I looked at the price, and the prices looked pretty dang good, especially the time when I bought the silver. And I was like, I want to sell this. So I sold it to my usual guy, and he actually gave me $50 extra. Now I don't know if that's because he's the only one I sell my stuff to, and so maybe he decided to give me a little, you know, a, a little birthday present, I guess. But that was kind of neat. I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, day 32 to 35, I noticed that my facial hair was growing way too fast. You know, back in my fapping days, like facial hair would hardly ever grow, and then now it's just coming back way too fast. At least in 2 days, it looks like there's enough for me to have to shave again, which I guess it's a pro and a con. I don't really care for facial hair personally. I would like to see the testosterone go more to muscles, but you know, I guess we can't choose what we want, can we? And then on day 36, my manager and his girlfriend wanted to go to Nebraska to kind of check out the bar scene over there. I had nothing to do over the weekend. My YouTube was really caught up, so they asked me if I want to go, and I was like, okay, fine. So I went with them. We went to a couple bars, I think. Maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4. I may have drunk a lot more than I should have because it was very hard to stay still. I definitely would not have been able to fight if I had to fight. And then I think at one of the bars, we got approached by a group of people that I think they either come from Ukraine or Russia, just based on their accent. Kind of asking about the bar scene and what has like I don't know what you call it. You know when you like pay to get inside type of thing? Yeah. They asked which bars had that. And again, we're not Nebraskans, we're South Dakotans, so we didn't know 100%. But I think, yeah, that one lady kind of approached me first. And of course, I'm not a drinking man, so I couldn't answer a question. So my manager had to kind of take it over from there. And then day 37, we had to drive back from Nebraska, which is, I don't know, maybe like 3.5, 4 hours. It's not as bad as like Minneapolis. And so, yeah, we came back, and I was like, all right, so I got to go to the gym, get my groceries, things like that. And then well, so at the time, I didn't really have a control on my lust like I do now. So at the time, I would have been like, oh, yeah, I'm okay with casual relationships, right? And so I had bought some condoms, and I was going to go to the self-checkout. But then I kind of caught eyes with a lady, a pretty lady, and I was like, oh, I want to talk to her. And yeah, it was kind of like, but you have condoms in your basket. And I was like, well, but who cares though? Right? Like, I'll probably never see this girl again. So I was like, whatever, I'm going to go over there. So I went over there, checked out, whatever, talked to her, it was all right. And I was like, great. I just can't imagine that like I would have done something like that before. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'd be so much in my head, be like, nah, I'm just gonna go to self checkout, and I probably would have, but again, like I caught eyes with her, and that doesn't usually happen, at least not with the girls giving me a disgusted look. So I was like, okay, if that's the case, I'm gonna come talk to you. No, before you ask, I'm still a virgin. Now, on day 42, I think that was a Friday. Pretty sure it was a Friday, because my manager was like, let's go to the bars, and I was like, okay. So I went over there, and I don't really drink, so whatever. Went home early, I think maybe 11:10, maybe 11:15. But yeah, before I left, there was like a drunk girl that kind of fell towards me. I had to catch her, and it's like, okay, be careful. And then I left, and then some other girl said Happy Friday. Like, oh, thank you. It is Friday, yes. Now, day 44, I went to the gym and I hit 165 on the bench pretty easy. And now I don't usually bench until I had to switch my workout from Friday to Sunday because the Great Life gym that I go to, it opens way later on a Sunday. So I couldn't go to that one. I guess my favorite one, you could say. And I only did um, weighted dips on that at that gym, and I got up to like 90 pounds or something like that. But this other gym that I go to on Sunday, because it opens as early as I want it to, it doesn't really have a dip station, or it kind of does, but like it doesn't work for me. So I can't use my weight belt because like there's some kind of pad that like if you put weight on it, it goes down, and so it's like well I can't put 90 pounds on that, so I can't use dips over there. So I was like, well, what am I gonna do for chest? So I just did the bench, and at that time I hadn't done bench for you know months at least, and I know I can do 145 just going up, adding 20 pounds each time. And after 145, I was like, this is kind of easy. So then I went to add 20 more. I did 165, and I was like, it's pretty easy too. But I didn't want to push myself. You should never push yourself on an exercise you haven't done in a long time. So I kind of cut it off there. But I thought that was pretty impressive that I could hit 165 when I usually don't. And it certainly wasn't particularly difficult in any way, shape, or form. Now, day 45, I had another sex dream that could have become a wet dream if I didn't get out of there. So I had to focus and push myself out of that. And then my dad asked me to drive my stepbrother to his elementary school because he wasn't feeling well. So I was like, okay, but I've never been to his elementary school. And he's like, oh, he'll tell you. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So then he gets ready and we're in the car. I'm like, okay, where's the elementary school? And he was very quiet, or he didn't say anything, or he wouldn't tell me where his elementary school was. And so I was like, is it here? Is it here? And he wouldn't say anything. I'm like, okay, I'll just put the name of his school on my phone, because he's not saying anything to me. So then I'm driving down, I'm following the instructions, and I guess there was a turn I was supposed to take, but the phone didn't tell me that, and my stepbrother wasn't telling me anything. So I took another turn, and then now he speaks up and says, oh, you missed a turn. And then I was like, oh, well, you didn't tell me anything this whole time. You didn't tell me anywhere where to go. I had to use the phone to figure it out. And then he's like, I did. So he's lying. Okay. Now I understand that anytime a 10-year-old talks, they always lie. But for some reason, it just really pissed me off that he was trying to hold on to this lie, like it was true when it wasn't. So he was kind of ticking me off. I was kind of yelling at him, like, stop lying to me. I know you're lying to me, type of thing. And it was unreasonable. I understand that. Um, but I don't know if that's just the nofap anger or annoyance, but it just really made me mad that, he would be so nonchalant about lying. Like, oh, let me just lie. Like he just treats it like it's okay or something like that. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I was in the wrong, and I understand that kids lie all the time because they're stupid kids, but I don't know, that day was just a really bad day. We're fine now, but I'm just saying, I do believe I was quite unreasonable to be angry about a kid that lies when I'm pretty sure we all know kids lie all the time. Now, when I went to work that day, I was also pretty angry at my job because I got like two or three interpreter calls. So basically, sometimes for our credit cards, we get guests that don't speak English, or at least they prefer not to speak English. And, I've seen people call in from, that speak Chinese or German or something like that, or Spanish is the most one, you know. And so naturally, we're just like, oh, just call the interpreter line. Because I guess we have a line that we can just, get an interpreter on the line. And so I'm following the instructions, because we can bring up instructions on how to do anything. And so I'm following it to the T perfectly, okay? And then for some reason, it gives me an error that it won't connect me to the interpreter. So I had to tell the lady, not in Spanish, but like, hey, my system's not working. I cannot get a Spanish interpreter. Sorry. and I dropped 2 calls, right? And so eventually I'm calling the supervisor. I'm like, hey, why doesn't my system work on the interpreter line? Like I can't get an interpreter. And so eventually they find out and they go, oh well, you're supposed to use a different pad on the phone in order to enter in the code numbers. So I was typing it in like any normal person would do, right? But it always came up as an error. But then they said, well, you need to hit this dial pad that isn't in the instructions on how to get an interpreter and wasn't taught to me when I was in training, you know? And so I was just upset at them. I was like, you guys don't think that you should write that on the damn article? Like I had to drop 2 calls because in training they didn't tell me what to do. Now another person did get interpreter calls, and I'm sure she learned how to do it because she saw it. But there was no effort to teach everyone else. I never got an interpreter call, so of course I didn't know how to do it. You know what I mean? And it just pissed me off that it was like, first of all, you don't even write the damn instructions on there to say, hit this obscure button on the phone so that you can get the keypad rather than type it in, which any normal person would do. I bet you would do that, And it was just, it just annoyed the hell out of me. It's like, how stupid are people? You know what I mean? Like, if it's something obscure like that, then you better tell everybody in the training class how to do it, or just write it on the damn article so that we can read it and then press the damn button and we still do it. And so I don't know if that was unreasonable anger, but I was certainly annoyed and upset that something so simple, could have been handled in training, or you can just write the damn thing in the article. Now, day 46, this was kind of the 2 light days I talked about earlier that I added, where it's the shoulders, lats, and then forearms. And so what I would do is that I would do barbell OHP, and I put 10 pounds on each side, so it's really 65 pounds. And so my goal to get, kind of that, more shoulder muscle was hypertrophy. And of course, the formula I use is 4 to 6 sets of 9 reps. And so the weight chosen basically should make you pretty close to dead by the time you get at the end of it. And for this day, I know that I was able to get the 9th rep on the 6th set. So before that, I couldn't do it. Maybe I'd fail at maybe the 5th rep or 5th set or 4th set, something like that, right? But now I actually got strong enough I could actually finish the whole thing at 65 pounds. So that's pretty good. And then 2 days later on day 48, which is another light day, it was too easy. I did 4 to 6 sets of 65 pounds, 9 reps, and it was too easy. And so I had a strong consideration to try to do 70 pounds next Tuesday. Now, day 51 would have been a Sunday, so it's that full body training. I noticed that barbell OHP was very hard to do. So on Sunday for barbell OHP, instead of doing 4 to 6 sets of 9 reps, I actually just go. I add 20 pounds each time, and I go up to 125 is about the max I can do. Now, a long time ago, I got 145, but I've never been able to do that again. But despite how difficult barbell OHP was, I was able to keep my 165 bench. So, after the training, I went to Slim Chickens, fell asleep. So I must have done a good job at the gym. And then it just seemed throughout the day I was kind of lazy, and it seemed like my brain was trying to convince me to watch porn. Like, you have nothing to do. And I was like, yeah, that's true, but like, why is porn even an option? Like, why don't we just, get ahead of the YouTube schedule? Why don't we, train some skill? It was like my brain like came in a suit and is trying to have philosophical debate of like, yeah, but you'll think of all the stuff that you missed. And it's like, missed what? It's basically the same thing with different people. You know what I mean? Like, I was trying to have a logical discussion with my brain, and it's saying, oh, well, you're bored and you're sad and you're depressed. And I was like, yeah, but that's your fault. You're the one that does that with the hormone imbalance in the brain. Thankfully, I didn't give in, but it was quite a different strategy. We know that, at least for me, it seems my brain will give me the Nofap Flu, or it'll make me, flatline, depressed. And then this time I decided to go with a new strategy, coming in with a business suit and trying to be logical about it. But don't worry, I did beat him with its own logic. Now on day 52, I noticed that my feet were kind of like injured. Something about my feet was my foot, like the ankle part, like it was injured or something, which is really weird. At first, I thought it was because my feet were in plantar flexion, which is normal when you go to sleep. But then I was like, no, that doesn't make sense, you know? So you know what I'm talking about? So your feet is like, your foot's like a, this is plantar flexion, right? And then this is like dorsiflexion. So you sleep like this. And I was like, why does my, like, why would this be the cause of why my feet hurts? Like, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And so that was really weird because, um, yeah, I had gym. Did I have gym the day before? Yeah. Yeah, I had gym the day before, but like nothing was a problem. Like my squats were fine. I didn't feel anything after that. My deadlift, Romanian deadlift, was fine. So it was kind of weird. I don't know if the brain did that or not. And then I also noticed that masturbation has pretty much lost its appeal. It just in my head seemed like this was a lot of work for something with little to no reward, and yeah, it just wasn't interesting to me anymore. So, well, that's good, I guess. Now on day 53, we had kind of like a Zoom work training at my job. I think it was a diversity thing. So, just a lot of talking and PowerPoints and stuff like that. And then, of course, they made us do the discussion. You got to talk about it. And usually, I'm not really big on discussion, at least if it's not something that interests me, like martial arts. Um, but yeah, we had to talk about it and, our thoughts on it and things like that. And usually, at least in school, I would always just not say anything because why? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It wasn't interesting to me. Um, but this time around, I did find myself kind of engaging with it, even though the subject matter was not interesting to me. People had questions and I wanted to answer their questions. Then we had to do a group activity. Those things are kind of cringe, right? But I was like, okay, fine. I mean, at least I'm getting paid not to work, so I guess I might as well be engaged. Day 54, I had bad sleep and back pain. I'm thinking it's from kind of my work from home setup. I don't have like a legitimately good one set up. It's just kind of, I kind of make do with what I got. Then I had quite the belligerent customer. And believe me, we get belligerent customers all the time in call center. And in my case, credit cards, but I'm sure it happens to everybody else. But this guy was just really bad. He was pretty entitled. Just the way he spoke and acted kind of like reminded me of like how I was bullied as a kid. And so I was like, dang, that really sucks. I was like, yo, that's the worst, probably the top two worst customers I've ever had. Um, and so it was kind of like when like getting yelled at for something that wasn't my fault back at the bank. And in that case, I couldn't sleep, which was true here. I couldn't sleep either, but it didn't seem to bother me as much. But the next day, I definitely couldn't go to work. It just felt like that I have to be. It's like I had to like accept being bullied or something. So I just called my work and I'm like, no, I'm not coming to work today. you know, like I don't have the mental strength to be abused right now. So it's like, no, thank you. So I didn't go to work, and then I went to the gym because it was still a gym day. And that one, this is where I tried to do 70 pounds on the barbell OHP because I did 65 last time and it was pretty good. I wasn't able to do 70 pounds. On the sixth set, I had to go down to 65 pounds, but I still think that's pretty good. Just like, strength wise, adding on to something. And of course, I'm sure not getting good sleep from being, verbally abused by a customer before probably had something to do with it. And then I forgot to bring a towel. I usually bring a towel to shower at the gym, but I forgot. I was like, that's okay. They have towels at the gym too. So I was gonna go over there, and then I see a sign that says you have to be fully dressed before you pass. You pass this point. And I was like, yo, am I really gonna go back just to put on clothes? I mean, I was in my underwear, but am I really gonna go back to put on clothes just to grab this towel and then come back, take my clothes off again? And I was like, maybe breaking the law, but I was like, nope, I'm gonna go get it. I went to get it anyways, and I was like, yep, there you go, I'm done. Day 56 and 57. So this, I believe, was the weekend at Deadwood. Um, so my manager had talked about it, made sure that I got the day off to be able to go basically with them. And so we drove down there. Oh my God, the drive was terrible, terrible. I mean, it's like 5.5 hours maybe. Oh my goodness, that was not fun. Um, but it was good. It was a good weekend. We got over there eventually. A lot of people there, a lot of people I don't know, but it was all right. We went out at night to the bars. I guess that's the point of Deadwood is the bars on Halloween, and it's okay. It was fine. I think I went home early. Yeah, I did. I went home early because I don't want to stay out till 2 a.m. I guess that's the idea, but the thing is like I want to keep a constant schedule. You know what I mean? Just so I can still do all of my stuff. I can still be, just return to a normal, productive life. So I think we're at the casinos or something and playing like dollar slots. But eventually they were like, "Who wants to go home?" I'm like, "I do." I want to go home so I can go to sleep and, you know, get up at a normal time, I guess I would call it. And then, what's the next day? The next day at Deadwood, um, so I went out with new friends. Typically, yes, I would just stick around my manager, but they got up later because they stayed out later. So I was up pretty early, and then this other group, Tay, Lee, and Spence, they also went home early. Yeah, we all went home early, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go get breakfast." I was like, "I want to go. I want to go. I've been up since 5 a.m. I want to get breakfast." So I went with them. New people, obviously way out of my comfort zone, but they're pretty good people. They're good people. They're nice people, and I was like, okay. I think we went to Mount Rushmore. I've never been there before, but it's nice. Got a couple pictures of the president's heads, and yeah. Then we went back, and I was like, okay, that was that was a good time. We did go to the bars again. That's true. We went to the bars again. Um, I think there was a lady that kind of like pulled me. I talked about it before. This lady just kind of like asked me to help her look for Victoria, and I thought that was some kind of famous person that was playing, and I was like, "Oh, who is this?" And where's your friend group? You got to stay with your group. And then my manager was like, "Oh, we're gonna go to this bar," and she said she wanted to come along, and I'm like, "Okay." So I kept her close, not hitting on her because she looked like she was alone. So I was like, "Okay, if you're with us, our group, you're with our group." But then as we got to the next bar, she just walked away, and it's like, okay, maybe she remembered her group. I don't know. And then, did I stay out late? Oh, that's the day where we lost Spence. And it's so funny in hindsight because it makes sense. The reason why Spence went to go gamble was because he and Lee were doing really good at the slots yesterday. They only paid like $1, right? And they were up like, I don't know, $12 or $15. They're doing pretty good basically. And that voucher that they get, it's only good for 3 months. And we're not coming down to Deadwood, like once a year. So obviously that voucher would be expired. So it made sense that Spence would go gamble. But it's just kind of funny that none of us really thought about it, or just like, I wonder where he could have possibly gone. But no, at the end of the night, we did find him and we were able to go home. And yeah, it was a good time. It's a good time. Good trip. And then, of course, we drive back to South Dakota. Well, to our area in South Dakota. Now, day 64, this was Taylor's birthday. And so I was going to go after I seen a movie. I think I was supposed to see a movie with a friend, and the movie did end at about maybe like 9 or 10 p.m. So that's when I went over there. I did have a gift. It was a selenite bracelet because when we hung out on the second night of Deadwood, we did go to a rock shop, and she talked about it, and she talked about rose quartz. I forget what that one does, but I do remember her distinctly saying that selenite was a charging crystal. I guess I just hold on to weird information like that. So I just found a rock shop here in town, and I was like, oh, she likes this stuff. and selenite's a charging crystal. So I just went ahead and I bought that. And so that's the gift that I had. I brought it over. Um, there was, I think we played like some kind of phone game on TV. And then I drank a little more than I should have. I was kind of like I was past tipsy. Like Nebraska was just tipsy. This was like past tipsy. I was like yawning and falling asleep type of drunk. It was a good drunk though. Like it was a kind where I like wanted to talk to people, right? So then I went out to like to their deck, and then there's like Lee and two other people, and he would talk, and I would ask him questions about what he was talking about, which I probably wouldn't have if I was sober, but for some reason I was just I don't know. It's just a good feeling. So it's like okay, I'm gonna ask questions about anything I don't know. But eventually I did kind of sober up because that feeling kind of went away, and then like all of my like functions came back, like my my motor functions and my sense, and I could like drive home. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna drive home because like you know I'm sober now. Like whatever that was, it's gone. I'm completely functional again. Now, day 67, I hit on another lady at the gym. I kind of wanted to say, hey, where are you going to go after the gym? We can get lunch together. And she said, well, I'm going to go pick up my son. Ah, I see. Yeah, that's that's a that's a pretty good idea. Good luck with that. Day 74, I hit on another baddie, but this girl, she said that she had a boyfriend already, and she was nice about it. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. Have a nice time. Day 82 was another flatline. I was just feeling kind of like depressed, lonely, sad, how it is type of thing. But, kind of just had to make it through the day, and I did. And then on day 84, I had a dream where I was watching porn, and so I was so sad about it. I was like, oh no. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, it wasn't real. Okay. Oh, thank you. Day 85 was another sex dream, but again, I just had to, focus out of it and block it out. I had another belligerent customer who was quite abusive, but this time I actually like yelled at him. I yelled back at him. Then he kind of like chilled out, and so I was like, oh boy, I sure hope my boss didn't hear that call. But then I get a message at like 8 or something, and he's like, hey, I want to have a meeting about your calls. I'm like, God damn it. Because I guess he was listening to calls that day. And he didn't really mention it, but he just said that I had a lot of confidence on the phone and, how do I do it type of thing. And I was like, I don't know. I just follow the instructions you teach us, and then that's it. Um, so he was like, okay, just confident and modest. And I was like, oh, I guess so. It's kind of interesting he wouldn't talk about me yelling at the customer, but I don't know. Maybe I didn't yell at him, but I kind of just like put him in his place when he was trying to like, because it was like for a fraudulent application. And so I know what I need to do to get that handled. But then he kept asking questions like he was a detective where he knew what was going on. So maybe I like yelled at him to like put him in his place, and then he kind of backed off. And I was like, okay, now we can actually get this done. Now we can get somewhere type of thing. I don't know if that's what he was talking about when he said I was confident on the phone, but yes, I guess I didn't get in trouble at least. Day 86 was another sex dream, but it wasn't intense. It was pretty easy to block it out. Day 87, I had two more belligerent customers, and I did kind of yell at them again. One was about, some kind of barcode for their credit card. And then the other one was about approval time. Like this lady was just obsessed with like, what's the average approval time for a credit card? And I gave her the answer, which is true, which is it depends. It does. It depends. Okay. Because if you have terrible credit, then I imagine it takes longer. If you have good credit, I imagine it takes shorter. But she was just so obsessed with it, and she would ask the same question, but I'd give her the same answer because it's the answer to her question. And then she would get mad and raise her voice, and I would raise up my voice. I'm like, "Are you stupid? Like, how dumb are you? Okay, I'm literally telling you the answer to your question, and then you're getting madder when you get the same answer when you're asking the same question, which would obviously be the same answer. So, yeah, I don't feel good about it, obviously, but some people like you just got to make them understand, you know. So yes, I yelled at two more customers, and then day 89, I think I had beaten No Nut November, first time ever. Um, so that's kind of nice. And then day 91 was the 90-day reboot. So basically, in Nofap, we say that 90 days is when you're, typically rebooted. So, you're not depending on PMO as, an anchor to get through your life. Unfortunately, I did get the worst customer, the most belligerent customer ever. He was just really obsessive about how a fraudulent application can get through. Which, it depends. It depends. Even government websites get hacked. So it's not like there is no impenetrable, website ever, like people get hacked, and he was just really upset that it happened to him. And I'm trying to be reasonable, but he's just getting more annoying. So eventually I just yelled at him. And I wasn't happy about that because it's like I don't get happy having to yell at people. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do that. But he was just the worst. Like I don't know. It was pretty bad. It affected me pretty badly too. And so of course my manager was like, "Do you want to go out tonight?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" Trying to get my mind off of it. And it wasn't very good. I think this is probably the most drunk I've ever gotten. I guess I just thought I could, you know, run away from my problems by drinking, and it was Kyle's drink. I think he had like some kind of passion fruit and vodka, and I drank like one and a half of it. Now the cups are not that big; they're like that, but I still drank like one and a half of it, and I got way past kind of like the comfort zone of like, kind of like that nice drunkenness, and I got to a point where like I didn't even remember my own actions. So apparently I pushed a guy, which is technically classified as assault. I guess I kept hitting a girl's buttocks, which is classified as sexual harassment, and then I tried to drive home. Um, yeah, not very good. Clearly should not have been drinking so much, and that's definitely the level of drunkenness I don't want to be at. Like, what if I use my martial arts against somebody? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can someone be so drunk they don't remember the actions that they did? And so I had a pretty strong consideration to never drink again. Now, on day 92, I was actually tracked down by an officer of the law. If you remember back in Iron Palm month 6, I tried to do donations to the fire department, hospital emergency services, and police, but the other two wouldn't take it. So basically, the police got the full $300. And I guess the officer kind of knew who I was, even though I did say to put anonymous on the donation. So he knows me, he knows my vehicle, and I guess he could tell. He's like, hey, you know, clearly you were trying to drive when you were not sober. And, I guess he looked at my record. He knew I was a perfect guy. And he just kind of said, it doesn't really make any sense. Like, you're doing this when, there's no record of this. And I was like, yeah, I had a scumbag customer yesterday. And I guess I just tried to drink my problems away. And so he's like, well, we're not going to do anything officially on the record. But, he just said, you're a good dude and just don't do it again. So, once again, to just double down on my resolve, I am never drinking alcohol again. Now, on day 95, I had a lady customer say that I had a very pleasant voice. I think I've only heard that twice in my life. The first time would have been back in college. It was for therapy training. And yeah, basically the teacher's like, oh, you have a really nice voice. It's like, oh, okay. I guess. I think I sound like anyone else, but okay. And then on day 97, I had a really sore body, but I think it's because I was doing nunchuck training, which I haven't done in over like 5 years. And if you think about it, no matter how soft you swing, like you are basically hitting yourself over and over again. So I'm sure being 5 years out of that really didn't help. And then I got a customer who had a speech impediment, like some kind of medical speech impediment, because anything she said was never like a real word. Even when she would spell out the letters, it wasn't a real letter, So I'm being patient with her and being, can you repeat that? Because she was not speaking English. Well, I mean, like she couldn't speak English, enunciate correctly. And then she would just get madder and madder. But it was almost kind of funny because like you couldn't understand what she was saying. So I was like, I understand you get mad, but like I literally don't know what you're saying. But eventually, after like having her to repeat it like 10 times, I was able to get, oh, this is what your name is. Just because like something about her speech pattern was just really off. But I didn't really get mad about it. I wasn't bothered by it. Again, it was just kind of funny. Like, it's funny if like it's their fault and then they don't realize it, I guess. You know what I mean? It gets That's not something that I would get mad over. It's just kind of like I'm trying really hard for them to not hear me laughing on the phone. Now, on day 99, I had a couple of fraud apps. There was two of them. So I handled the first one, and then the guy just felt very compelled to tell me about his runaway story when he was a kid, and he ran away. Um, he got to about South Dakota, but he was trying to get to California to be a hippie. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, if you want to tell the story, that's fine, I guess. And then I had another guest. I helped him with his fraud app, and then he was really impressed with it, and was really impressed. And he was like, I want to give you a good review. And I'm like, we don't have anything like that. I mean, unless you want to talk to my supervisor and tell him to give me a raise, I'll transfer you over for that. But no, we don't really have a line for you to write compliments or things like that. And then I had another call with a lady who I guess her debit card application didn't go through for the verification process. And keep in mind, this is a Saturday. Okay, this is a Saturday. I'm not supposed to work. Okay, I'll work Saturday, but not at first shift. So I'm supposed to work 12:30 to 9. Me and my people that trained, that was our real shift. Okay, and we're paid a differential because it's difficult. Now, for some reason, the job makes us work every fourth Saturday, and it's only the first shift. So we have to screw up our sleep schedule in order to make this fourth Saturday. And if that's not bad enough, because they give us a day off, but it's not a day that's useful. So, for example, if I'm screwed like that, right, I need at least a couple of days to reset my sleep schedule. But they said right off the bat, nobody can ask for Friday or Monday off. And so, I'm kind of coming in here pretty dang screwed. And I'll admit the first two Saturdays weren't bad, but this one was pretty dang bad. So basically, the lady got the impression that I was not giving her the best answer to her question, and it felt like I was trying to get her off the phone. And so I had to apologize for that. I'm like, no, I'm really not trying to get rid of you. I'm not supposed to work first shift Saturday. It screws up my sleep schedule. And so basically, she kind of made the point of, why don't you ask me to verify the checking account numbers? And I was like, that's a good question. If my sleep schedule wasn't messed with because of this Saturday, then I actually would have asked you that. So she's right. She's 100% right. I'm wrong. But, I wasn't trying to get you off the phone. I wasn't trying to get rid of you. It's just my brain without sleep, it doesn't function correctly. I'm not able to think of all the stuff that we're trained to do. So I do apologize for that. Sorry if you felt like I was trying to kick you off the phone. I wasn't. It's just I literally couldn't think of the right steps or the right methods to just to make sure that the debit card app was um, being processed correctly. Now, of course, afterwards, I was kind of asked by my manager if I wanted to go out to the bars. And I thought about it just to be with friends, but then I also kind of realized, like, you know, you're not going to find a quality woman at the bar. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to find, like, I mean, not to be stuck up, but like a good person. You know what I mean? And so my brain was trying to trick me to be like, yeah, you should go there. But it's like, why? There's no good women there. It's like, well, it's for your friends. Like, I can see my friends anytime, though. So I kind of had to turn them down. I felt a little bad about it, but I just kind of realized, like, why am I going there? You know what I mean? Like, there is no lifelong, you know, wife material at a bar, right? People are just kind of, how do I say this nicely? No, nobody at the bar is looking to, you know, just, settle their life perfectly and correctly. At day 100, I was hit with another flatline. not good, not motivated. Didn't really want to work on the YouTube or anything like that. So let my manager know, and he asked me to come over. We hung out the whole day. We wrapped presents very badly, um, but it kind of helped, just not being alone by myself. Day 102 was good sleep. I thought I had a wet dream, but then I woke up and everything's dry, so I'm like, okay, okay, good, that's good. Then I went to the gym, and the barbell OHP felt very easy. Very easy. I don't know if I was using a lighter bar, but it felt too easy. And that was at 65 pounds. And then I tried to do lat pull down, but people were, they were using lat pull down machine, so I decided to do my 30-minute walk at 4.2 miles. And then people weren't using the lat pull down machine, so I could use it. And then I was going to do wrist curls, but everyone's using bench, so I couldn't do it. So I just went home and I made my lunch, eggs, basically 3 eggs. Kind of got a little bit of a tummy ache, and then for some reason I was hit with the flatline depression again, and I was like, oh no. And I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna work soon. Like, I should try to work, right? And so I'm kind of having a battle in my brain. It's like, do I want to work when I'm depressed though? Like, what if I get an abusive customer? Am I gonna yell at them again? I don't want to yell at them. And so eventually I kind of made a deal with myself. I'm like, okay, listen, if you're gonna call out of work, you at least have to call a suicide hotline, because that kind of comes with depression and things like that. And so I had to think about it for some more. 10 minutes later, I was like, yeah, I got to call out of work. So I called them and I said, yeah, I'm depressed and low. I don't want to yell at customers today. And so they said, okay, you don't have to work. And then, keeping my promise, I'm like, okay, I have to call a suicide hotline. And it took me a little bit of time, maybe like 5 minutes. But then eventually I went ahead and called. And the lady there was very nice. Kind of asked some basic questions, have you been thinking about it, planning it, type of thing. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to scare you, but I mean, like, I think it's going to be pretty normal on Nofap that when you take away all that dopamine, obviously you're going to be depressed. Obviously, your brain is going to make you think things you don't want to think about, and it's certainly uncomfortable, but it's just something that I assume is going to get better as the days go on. And yeah, she just kind of asked, like, "Are you thinking about it?" And I was like, yeah, pretty much every time you're in flatline, you're gonna think about suicide. And then she asked like how far to plan, and I'm like, well, not really. Maybe like logistics. So things like, obviously I wouldn't kill myself here, but maybe like somewhere else. And then also like just like logistical things. So for example, I have a lot of um, very expensive martial arts. I have firearms from like 1914, 1918, very valuable stuff. And it's like, well, if I'm gone, then my family tries to sell it. Scumbag gun shops and scumbag pawn shops are going to pay them like a terrible low price. You know what I mean? Like, I'd say probably the 4 most valuable guns I have, they're probably like over $12,000, you know? So it's like I can't leave until like I sell all this stuff, you know what I mean? So stuff like that, not like planning, but just like logistical stuff. Like, I'd have to sell all this stuff. And that's probably a pretty good safety too, because especially my Manira and Mass 73, that gun is very, very high quality. That's at least 3 grand, over 3 grand. And that's kind of my baby too. you know, I'm not gonna sell my baby. Closest thing I'll ever have to a real baby. So it's kind of a good safety too. It's like, at least I know and my friends know that, like, if I'm selling like stuff that's super important to me, that's probably a bad sign. But everyone's different, and I don't want to freak you out, but there's no question you're gonna feel some kind of um, suicidal ideation or tendency type of thing. It's just your brain being like, you won't give me what I want, and so I don't want to be on this planet anymore, type of thing. One thing that I would say is very helpful I got from the suicide hotline is that it's pretty natural for us to want to just isolate, just isolate and be by ourselves, type of thing, not be around people. But honestly, that's the worst thing you could do. And so you should really try to just reach out to as many people that will respond to you. So after the call, I sent text to my biological mother, my older brother, an old co-worker I used to work with, and then my manager. And so, of course, I was talking with them for a while, and it helped. It helped to kind of know what's going on with their lives. Eventually, my manager asked me to come over because I was worried about me. And so I went over, and I brought one of the gifts for his girlfriend. We bought two gifts for his girlfriend. One of them was already here, so I just brought that over. And then as we hung out playing games and stuff, the second gift did show up. My dad told me it was way too heavy. He's not bringing it in the house. So we just swung by my house, picked it up, and then brought it back to his place. We went to Culver's to get food, and then it was about 5 p.m. and I was like, okay, bro, I feel good. I'm gonna go back, work on the YouTube type of thing. And so that was pretty much it for day 102. That's about it for the current streak. Nothing really happened in days 103 to 106. So with that out of the way, let's just go ahead and go over some of the general themes, overall type of thing. I think the first one that comes to mind is really the Nofap Flu. Again, just that really light sickness for 25 days. Not debilitating, but certainly annoying, kind of like the brain's attempt to make you feel low and get you to watch porn. I don't know. So I know that happened during the Nofap Day 40, and of course it happened again today. All I can say is just, don't let it bother you too much. Don't focus on it. Again, it's just a light sickness, and if you give it 20 days, it'll be over with anyways. Now, another thing was consistent sleep, consistently good sleep, which is quite surprising. I have always had bad sleep my whole life, even before watching porn. I would always wake up at like every 2 hours. And so it's kind of nice now that the sleep is a lot more consistent and it's a lot better, better-ish, 4 hours and 5 hours. I don't think I'll ever experience 8 hours sleep, but that's okay. So anytime you see large gaps in the streaks, like, 5, 8 days, typically nothing really happened and I just had really good sleep. Now, another theme that came up was the flatline. I know previously on Nofap Day 40, I don't think I experienced flatline, but as you can see on this streak, oh yes, oh yes, definitely felt the flatline. Again, it's really just kind of like depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations, things like that. I guess it's kind of like the brain's last attempt of trying to get its dopamine addiction, and then if you don't, it kind of just threatens you, I guess. It's not a good time. It's not a good time, and I certainly don't have a good strategy for it. All I can say is kind of like what I learned from the suicide hotline is just mass text people. Just mass text people, ask them how they're doing, like what I did, and well, you can message me, I know what it feels like. So if you sit there and sit there in your isolation and you got nobody, you could message me. Do it twice though, because somebody messaged me on Instagram. I didn't even notice. It was like 30 days old. I didn't even notice. I'm still learning this technology stuff. So if you message me twice. Ask the question and then say, "Hey, idiot." Then maybe I'll see it. Or you can message me on YouTube. I'm not always on this stuff. Maybe Saturday when I'm uploading the video, or every once in a while. But I mean, yeah, just mass text your people. See who will respond to you. Not everyone will respond to you. That's okay though. Somebody's gonna say something, and it just kind of, gets you out of that kind of doom and gloom type of thing. Now, another thing was the sex dreams. That never happened on Nofap Day 40. It did on this streak. It's annoying, and it feels really intense too, like at least mind-wise. Like I was saying, if I focused too much on the sex dream, it probably would have become a wet dream, which I still haven't had this whole streak. I don't know, I guess that I heard that's bad, but yeah, if I focus too much on it and I'm not trying to like block it out, it felt like it would be a wet dream. So all I can say is if you're getting sex dreams, just really try not to focus on it. Try to block it out, or think of something else. And certainly it wasn't that easy in the past, but nowadays I think with that, I talked about it before, hyperfrontality. So the streaks add up, whether it's like 2 days or 4 days, and it seems like now I'm having more executive function. But before it's like, oh, this is a sex dream and I can't stop it. Now it's like, yeah, I can. Yeah, I can and I will. So don't beat yourself up over, oh, 2 day streaks or 3 day streaks. They do add up, and your hypofrontality executive function will build up, and you will be able to just kind of, knock things out or stop things out before they become a problem. Now, the morning urges were certainly a problem on this streak as well. It seemed like my brain tried to induce me to wake up at, 3 or 4 a.m., which was way too early for me to wake up, even when I did work at 6 a.m. And I'm guessing the idea is to like make me tired. And, again, we all use PMO as a cover for everything, so certainly my brain thought the strategy would be to make me tired, and I did beat it with the sand bucket, but then it woke me up way too early. And so then I had to use willpower. That wasn't fun. So as you can see, the brain it's an addict. It's a dopamine addict, and it has quite the varied strategy to try to get you to fail. But I would say, with the morning urges, oh boy. I mean, I don't think I really had a strategy for it. I think the streaks just added up, and I was able to get more executive function from the hypofrontality, and then it just stopped becoming a problem eventually. Now, another thing is more energy, literally. Yeah, you tend to have just more energy on Nofap. I'm guessing so because at the gym, which, I still went to the gym back when I did watch porn, and I would only train 1 day full body, and that was it. That was it. I was done, and I needed 6 whole days to train again. But here, as I've started to do, I train full body on Sunday, that's true, but then I also add on Tuesday and Thursday, which is really just a light day for shoulders, lats, and forearms. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I was bored, and boredom can lead to PMO. And so I was like, why don't I just do martial arts again? And so I started doing that. And then Saturday is kind of like a dedicated YouTube day. So either just, get caught up on my schedule, put out teasers if I have to, or work on the actual video itself. So as you can see, that whole week is used up, and I have essentially no free time, and it never felt like it was too much. It's even at the gym on the light days, because I max out my pull-ups. I would do 13. I do 6 sets, right? So it's like 13, 8, 6, 6, 5, something like that. And even in the 90-second rest, when I'm waiting, even after doing 13 pull-ups and maxing out, it's like I'm already like come on, come on, let's go, hurry up. Like why is the rest taking so long? So I'm not sure what the science is behind it, but I would say yes, there seems to be something to the idea of more energy on Nofap. Now, also, I would say that the testosterone does increase. I know that scientifically they say it's 7 days and then it levels off, and that might be true, but the facial hair for me was growing way too fast, and it's very annoying almost. I'm very annoyed to have to shave so often. So that's another thing that I noticed. And then the Nofap anger, yes, there were a couple times that happened this time. I would like to make it a point that I don't think that it is sexual frustration. I know what that is. When I had an ex-girlfriend 10 years ago and she messed around, yes, I know what sexual frustration is. It's not that. That's not where the anger is coming from. It's just an anger from just annoyance from like really stupid people, or um, or like immoral people, like when my stepbrother was lying, like something like that was just upsetting to me, and that's really where the anger came from. So I know some people might try to say that it's anger from sexual frustration, but I really don't think so. It's just, you know, being upset with people's behavior, whether it's like stupidity or lying. Now, I'd also say that social skills have increased. The small talk that I used to hate a long time ago, I really don't mind. So when I go to Casey's or talk to the teller or something, or even just people on the phone, like the non-abusive customers, like if they just have general questions, I'm just like, yeah, I'll talk to them. We'll talk about stuff that has nothing to do with credit cards. It's not really a problem at all. Now, that's only during times where I'm not in Flatline. I went out with my friends. I think it was a sports bar, and yeah, I was in the middle of Flatline, so obviously I probably didn't look that interesting. So again, it's not 100%, but when you're not at Flatline, I would say yes, my social skills do increase. I'm not too worried about it. I don't have to like plan what I'm gonna say, type of thing. Maybe, maybe if I hadn't seen somebody in a couple months, like, oh, what should I talk about, but not like, oh, like I was before. Like I was like, how do I guide this conversation? Like how do I have to have preset statements. I don't have to do that anymore. I literally just kind of just go. I just flow. Whatever people want to talk about, we talk about, type of thing. Now, of course, on this streak, I tend to hit on girls a lot more than before. I don't think I hit on any girl in Nofap Day 40. No, I didn't. But now I am. uh, it's kind of like it's a little bit automatic, but it really depends. It depends if the girl is like my style, kind of like brown or black hair, big legs. Then I will definitely hit on you like 100%. Like we can be complete strangers, and I'm just gonna hit on you. I know that's probably not a good thing, but I can't help it. Like it's gonna happen. And I don't do it to every girl. I'm not like breaking young girls' hearts. It's for a particular girl that I'm super motivated to like talk to them. But don't feel like, oh, you have to look like that or be that style. I have fallen for girls that don't fall in that category at all. There's a girl I worked with in pharmacy, and she was a blonde. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not my style. But our personalities match so well. I probably would have went out with her. Like she liked guns, martial arts, movies, games. Like that's all you need. That's all you need, and you got me. So don't feel like you have to, look like that to have a chance. If you like those things, you probably have 100% chance with me. To be honest, you probably do. And finally, I would say that I've got a lot more discipline. I guess you could say delayed gratification. Basically, anything that's a challenge to me, I want to do it. But anything that's like easy, I don't want to do it. So like the cold showers I've been taking for, I don't know, has it been a year now? Nah, not really. I've been taking cold showers, and now I've kind of gotten to the max cold setting. And South Dakota water is a lot colder than Minnesota water. I thought it wasn't, but it actually is. Like it actually feels like frostbite level. And I make it a goal every time. It's like, yo, I got to get to that frostbite water, right? I gotta be taking a shower, and I better be hitting that frostbite level of cold. And then I increase the time to like 15 minutes, and then my water bill seemed suspiciously high, so I was like, okay, let me cut it back down to 10 minutes. And so I always make it a goal to make sure, yo, I gotta get that freezing cold water at least before my alarm goes off. Just kind of a general approach of taking the difficult path in life. Like I want to take the difficult path in life. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like relationships, right? It's pretty easy for people, no judgment, to do like the casual thing. And it really takes no talent, like anybody can do that. And so it's like, well, what about, getting in a meaningful relationship? How difficult is that? And the answer is hella difficult. But it's like, well, I want to do that though, Like that's what I want to go for, because it's more challenging. Same thing at the gym, I go to the gym and it's like, okay, I've been doing, this so much weight for a while. It's been like 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure I can, uh, make it higher, make it more difficult. So just a general discipline, just kind of recognizing like, yo, this is the easy way out and I don't want to do that type of thing. And then also, I think my lust has been in a lot more better control. I think it's pretty obvious we all had very lustful hearts in the beginning. And then for me, it just seemed to have really come down and I'm able to kind of control it. So for example, um, watching TV or YouTube or something, just the slightest bit of sexuality, and I kind of just make it a point to look away. It's kind of like, Muslims, um, or all genders of Muslims. You know how like they're so shy about the slightest sexuality, which is kind of cute to be honest. I'm like that now. Like anytime something shows up in a movie or a TV show or something, and they make it a little spicy, like I don't want to see it. No. I have to look away type of thing. Um, for example, I was at my manager's house, and what did we go for? I think I was just bringing some of the gifts over. Did I bring some of the gifts over? Yeah. I brought some of the gifts over. It's for his girlfriend, and so he wants to watch a show because we had dinner. Did we get dinner? I think we did. We got some food. Yeah. We got some food, and he picked The Sopranos. And I maybe saw an episode a decade ago. I didn't really watch it, but typical show. They kind of overdo it with the sexuality, and so I'm kind of finding myself like, just looking away type of thing. So I would say that's good. That's good. It seemed like the lust part has been a little bit more in control for me. So that's great. I'm happy about that. So there you go. Nofap day 106. I hope not to screw up. Maybe I'll give another update on Nofap day 200, something like that. I would like to stay on this. The flatline sucks, but honestly, it's way better than before. Than life with PMO. So pretty happy about that. If you guys have any questions, you can always message me on the Instagram twice. The second time is say hey idiot, or you can message on YouTube, but I'm not really on the YouTube that often. It's really just to upload the next video and things like that. But you have a pretty good chance to catch me on the Instagram. So if you have questions, you can always ask on there. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.